So recently I've been asked a few questions about Extraction Point, which is a game level that I developed, released a video of it and a download about a year ago now, and people have been asking kind of what happened to it, where's the rest of it. So I just wanted to make a quick video to explain not only what I've been doing with Extraction Point, but also other projects from within Game Guru that I perhaps haven't showcased on YouTube, but I have been sort of working on and off in the background. Extraction Point is developed in Game Guru from the game creators. Now, my sort of relationship with the game creators goes back many years, and long-time members of my channel will possibly remember that I showcased one of the levels I built in FPS Creator many years ago now, called Acid Factory. The whole point of Extraction Point was it was supposed to be a fairly short game. It was only designed to be 3 levels. Really, I was going to rely mostly on stock assets that come with the engine or stuff I could get in the DLC packs. The running theme with my projects in Game Guru is if they take longer than a couple of months and I don't seem to be making much progress, I do tend to kind of knock them on the head. It's very easy to get kind of bogged down with the technicals and the artwork, and you spend ages creating models, and before you know it, you don't end up finishing the game. You run out of steam. Extraction Point I originally started in 2017, and it took me over a year to actually build up the momentum again to actually finish it and release it in 2018. And what was showcased in that video was just the opening level. There was a second level and a third level which were beginning to take shape. The first level ends with you meeting the Shah, who's the main antagonist of the game, and you're kind of knocked unconscious. The second level, you are basically chucked into a river, and some hours later you wash up downstream. Your commander that you've been speaking to on the radio has gone looking for you, and you're tasked with trying to meet up with him, basically. Like, in terms of the development of that level, I was fairly advanced in it. I had to break it into 2 sections, but basically I had all the mechanics down. The big thing that was really a bit of a kick in the teeth was that midway through the production, Game Guru switched up to DirectX 10, and in doing so the lighting engine kind of stopped working. I did some amazing screenshots in the X9 version of Game Guru, but when it switched over to X10, shadows basically stopped working, and it was really difficult to kind of balance off the kind of ambient light that I needed from a sort of a dusk setting with the baked light maps that I was going after. On a purely visual level, that really was detrimental. I was also working on an entirely interior level, so at the end of level 2 you would go into some mines. The third level of the game was going to be very sort of Half-Life 2 inspired, lots of kind of puzzles and things, and it was going to be one of those sort of sections where you're just sort of on your own, there's no direction, your radio's not working because you're basically inside a mountain. So I've got footage of those levels as they exist now, pretty much. I haven't worked on them for months and months and months, basically because Game Guru is not quite at the stage I need it to be in order for me to get the visual quality up to what it needs to be. Other problems with Game Guru include its sort of memory cap. That was also something I was starting to run into, and so suddenly this 3-level game was probably going to end up being more like a 7-level game. There is a 4th level inside a base that I'm really struggling with. I was trying to make it in FPS Creator and then use the, I forget what the conversion tool is now, but how you can get FPS-C levels into Game Guru. Basically the light mapping was having none of it, really struggling with that. And later levels I just literally haven't even started. I know what they will be of, but I just haven't done them yet. I kind of got to a stage where I was just like, this project is kind of overrunning massively and it's taking way too much of my time, and I just need to focus on one thing and produce it. So in the middle of 2018, before Extraction Point was finished, Game Guru had switched over to become a DirectX 10 supporting engine, and that meant that a new shader technique was available to us, PBR, which can produce more realistic results. So I decided to spend a couple of months trying to teach myself how to create PBR assets. So I decided to make assets themed around the London Underground, because there is a good mix of metals, plastics, ceramics, lots of different shapes, interesting kind of geometry to model, and it's just interesting. I just like the underground. So I spent 2 months grabbing reference photos and even reference sound. Actually, I took this microphone down on the underground and recorded loads of ambient noise and things and sound effects. And my idea was I was going to put together a London Underground themed DLC pack available through the Game Creators store. and I created many assets. In terms of the list of assets I wanted to create, I got, I'd say, probably 60, maybe 70% of them done. Again, it was another one of these things where I sort of ran out of steam a little bit because it was taking a long time. There is obviously problems with using the branding of London Underground, so whether or not that pack ever actually sees the light of day, I do not know. I need to contact their legal department basically and see if it's possible. I suspect they'll say no. They may give me permission to create a game set in a London Underground station, so I can kind of use those assets for myself, but I suspect they will probably not like me trying to sell assets with the classic Johnston 100 font and the roundel and all that kind of stuff. So that may require me to go back into those models, tweak them, add different logos, that sort of thing. Basically come up with a knockoff version of the London Underground branding in order to be able to finish that pack and actually sell it. The other project that I got quite involved in for a couple of months was a new idea for a game which was kind of based off a painting I'd seen in the National Gallery in London. For some reason it really inspired me, and I came up with this kind of gameplay concept of a player that has to keep a flame alive or the demons will get him, basically. And that game became known as Ignite. It had the potential to be a really good game, and it still might do, assuming I ever actually get round to developing it a bit further. But there's a lot of technical challenges with regards to how the actual flames and torches and candles and stuff work. And I worked very closely with Amen Moses on the forums to come up with some custom scripts that would kind of control how the flame would work. And I think both of us, after 2 months solid of working on it, kind of just got a bit bored and moved on to other things. One of the things I was finding with Ignite was that the core gameplay mechanic is really engaging, but once you've got beyond that, like, what do you do with it? I mean, I wanted to have kind of platforming bits, but it's a first-person game. Like, that's really difficult. Not many platformers are first-person, not successfully anyway. So then you think, okay, well, what else can Game Guru do? And you're limited to fetch quests, key finding things. I mean, really basic, rudimentary stuff that's been done time and time again in Game Guru. And I was just really struggling to come up with ideas for, you know, different types of gameplay. I mean, I'd like to be able to do things like fire propagation, but again, that's a massive mechanic. It takes a long time to script. I'm not a scripter. I'd have to rely on the generosity of the community to try and get that to work. So hopefully one day I will actually come back to Ignite and create something, or maybe it's just one of those projects that's just too ambitious for Game Guru and it really needs to be done in a different engine like Unity or something. Where we stand now is that Extraction Point is still only a 1-level demo, and I haven't produced a new version of it. Will I ever finish Extraction Point? Well, that's another question, because in some ways I feel like I've kind of moved on from that a little bit. The big lesson I'm learning now is to do with the optimization of Game Guru. So I would approach Extraction Point very differently if I was to make it now. I mean, I'd almost be better going back and making it from scratch again with kind of better assets and just a little bit more of an eye on performance and optimization. The London Underground pack, as I said, I am about 60 or 70% of the way through. I've got some really lovely looking assets. I'm really happy with the way they've come out, and I want to be able to create a game with those. Again, the thing I have in mind, it really requires a decent lighting engine that can handle ideally dynamic shadows, but even if I have to bake it in a light mapping engine, I mean, I just need something rather than what we've got at the moment. So I'm kind of holding fire on that. And as for Ignite, well, I mean, I basically started making the first level, but again, the difficult bit is the actual mechanics and getting those to work properly. Once we've got that done, then potentially I can start thinking about how I basically take the game and in what direction I take it in. I tend to do a lot of work on Game Guru in the sort of darker winter months when I'm not sort of out filmmaking, so there's a good chance that over the winter I will probably pick up a couple of these projects and kind of toy around with them again. Hopefully I'll get a bit further this time. So anyway, that is a quick update on the Game Guru projects I've been doing for the last year basically, and why I've not released anything since my original extraction point video. So whether or not I actually get round to releasing any of this stuff, I really don't know, but I wanted to actually at least show some of the footage just so you can see that, yeah, I have been working on stuff in the background, and I'm not totally done with Game Guru as an engine. I'm just kind of waiting, basically, as so many of us are in the community. I'm just waiting for those developments to come on. I'm waiting for it to be optimized and made more pretty. I've got lots of ideas, but just not enough time to implement them, basically. So I guess really all I can say is thank you for your support of the original extraction point level, and if you are on the Game Guru forums and have kind of commented on my work, thank you for that. I've been really bad at uploading content to YouTube for the last year. Trust me, it's something I would love to do more of. It's just finding the time and actually completing things. That's really the big thing. But all I can say is thanks for watching, and yeah, hopefully I'll be able to produce more stuff in the near future.